Does Kokomi's constellations add value, or should you just stick with a C0 Kokomi? Well, in yesterday's video, we discussed a bit of this, and I sort of said, well, C0 is perfectly fine, and if you really want a C1, it can provide you lots of value, and as an F2P, well, that's more or less where you should stop. But if you do intend to go for more constellations, well, some people argue that Kokomi's constellations don't add any real value, and of course, as someone that does have both a C1R1 Kokomi and a C6R5 Kokomi on two accounts, I sort of just wanted to sort of put this to a test and show you guys what the differences are. So on screen, I just have on both accounts a Shingshu 4-star weapon, Sucrose 4-star weapons. Those two are pretty much more or less the same on both accounts. But the big difference, of course, is on the left-hand side. You can see what would be, I would think the would be like the top or the pinnacle of an F2P sort of Kokomi, and then on the right, obviously, the whale sort of Kokomi. Now, the differences are kind of very, very big, but of course, a big disclaimer, the enemy AI is a bit random, so it's kind of difficult to give you that fair representation. So what I try to do on both accounts is sort of just lower the one enemy's health and just get the other enemy to sort of be full again, and hopefully we can just sort of drag out the fight so you guys can see the differences a bit more clearly. But yeah, it is sort of no real contest. The C6R5 Kokomi does way more damage, and if you saw right there in the beginning as well, when we like healed Zhongli for about 16 whatever K ticks, yeah, you will not be able to do that with a C101 Kokomi, unless perhaps you do like Maiden's Beloved, you get like a Daona, you do a bit of co-op shenanigans, and you just go for max HP, and you neglect the Hydro damage goblet. Yeah, perhaps if you really try hard, you could do it, but look, there is just no matching a C6R5 Kokomi's healing, and that was without food buffs, without anything else. That was just as it is. So yeah, you guys can see that Kokomi does not just give you damage, she gives you proper immortality at a C6 level. I do remember there was the energy amplifier event where the big like perpetual mechanical ray used to like do like 22k true damage to your characters. In other words, it ignores shields and damage reduction. So basically Shingshu was useless and so on. And basically, well, a C6R5 Kokomi just laughed at it, because the moment you lost all your health, you just instantly gained it back via your jellyfish, and your normal attacks healed for like over I think it was like 2.5k or to like 3k a hit per sort of team member's health that you can restore, including Kokomi herself, and it's just so crazy. There was another event where we did like the maximum attack speed Kokomi, and oh goodness, did she just slap so hard. Like Kokomi with attack speed is literally the unkillable juggernaut of Genshin Impact. There is no character that can match that sort of tankiness of her. It is just so good. So yeah, the point is, you really need to play with Kokomi with constellations to really understand like what they sort of add, and how evenly they sort of add value. So basically, if you are an F2P and you get like a C2 Kokomi, it's not going to feel like you're going to get additional value, but the moment you sort of get more and more constellations, you'll start noticing that power gap and becoming increasingly like more like pronounced. And this is the same for like any sort of 5-star character. And I think Yalon's again a very good example, where the later you get like constellations, so for instance Yalon's got like on her constellation 4, she gains like more HP for herself and for her party. That by itself stacks with all her previous constellations and just makes her like so good. Oh, by the way, look at this little double shot. That was like kind of really cool. But basically Yelan's constellations stack with each other, and that stacking effect is really where characters start shining and differentiating themselves from their sort of C0 counterpart. And the same is true for Kokomi. And if you've noticed, and go and rewatch the C1R1 Kokomi versus the C6R5 one, At C6R5, Kokomi herself can almost have like 100% damage on her Ocean Ute clamp set by herself on her own with no other party member. You'll notice that the C1R1 Kokomi with 3 party members only did not always fully get the maximum like Ocean Ute clam set damage against the Kairagi and so on, and that is just to be expected. I mean, you don't have that full or excessive healing that a C6R5 Kokomi has, and I think it was a very good idea from the devs to sort of cap Ocean Ute clam, because if they didn't cap it well, Kokomi would be sort of, I don't know what the numbers would be, but I do know 40-50k sort of bubble pops would sort of come out of it, and that's kind of a bit too strong. But that's just sort of my opinion. But yeah, Kokomi does add value if you do value the character, if you do like playing the character, if you do want to go for constellations. For me personally, like I said in my previous video, I think C1 is the absolute sweet spot for people that love Kokomi, that want to play Kokomi, and that want to use her as more than just a thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayer carrier. I think that's a very, very good spot, and if you're a hardcore meta player and you're in any case just gonna hyper optimize your Ayaka for freeze teams and whatever, then yeah, keep Kokomi at C0. There's gonna be no harm to it. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, who would have thought that this character that almost everyone looked down upon, except myself and a couple of my long-term subscribers, we all loved Kokomi when she came out. Who would have thought that she is such a strong unit? And this is the thing, when you understand how powerful a Juggernaut type unit is in Genshin Impact, it really does sort of make sense that she is kind of like busted. And it's not just because of the off-field hydro, but if you think about the content in the game and so on, Kokomi essentially sort of trivializes it. She trivializes the need for you to carry food in the overworld, to the need for you to always have your elemental burst to heal. She just makes the gameplay and everything around her like so comfortable. Basically, just as a quick example, I was like playing the Mona sort of domain and whatever on my other account, and I actually swapped Kokomi out for Sucrose, Ayaka and Cleve, because I had to like use those elements to fix the puzzles and so on. And I do remember saying to myself, oh yeah, damn, I need to probably swap back to Kokomi because I'm just losing health on these characters. And it was just like so remarkable not having her in my party in the overworld, like what that difference is and how much comfiness you sort of lose. And I've definitely sort of seen this well in my solo content where I try to beat the abyss like just with like one character and so on. It's kind of tricky without Kokomi. You really sort of need to dodge and so on, and with Kokomi you need none of that. You can just have a good chill time, because at the end of the day, I've had a long I've had a long day at work, you can tell, and what I want is to just sit back, relax, and you know what, Kokomi gives me that, and that just makes me really happy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.